With Phase 5 of the MCU officially coming to a close, the MCU is at the midpoint with the Multiverse Saga, with Phase 5 having a mixture of multiversal projects and grounded ones, as well as pivoting on who the main villain of the saga would be. These next few projects that kick off Phase 6 have work to do in terms of setting Doom to be the big bad in Doomsday and the rest of the saga. With the new iteration of the Fantastic Four coming in first steps this week, I want to dive into what this film needs to do and how it could set up Doom for the future. Let's go back to the summer of 2022. Kevin Feige was on stage revealing the Phase 5 projects that would be coming out over the next few years. Once he was done with revealing Phase 5, he gave a sneak peek into Phase 6. The first Phase 6 film that was revealed to be in development was the new Fantastic Four film. Let's jump to February of 2024. This was when Marvel announced who would be playing the new Fantastic Four in the MCU. This included Pedro Pascal, Vanessa Kirby, Ebony Moss-Baccarat, and Joseph Quinn. All amazing in their fields and are sure to do an amazing job playing these characters. Going into 2024, the MCU was in a rough patch. 2023 was not the best year for Marvel, with low ratings coming in multiple projects. Quantumania tried to capitalize on the success of Loki Season 1 by introducing Kang the Conqueror, a variant of He Who Remains from Loki, who was one of the multiple variants of the same character that was a big bad of this saga. This film wasn't bad, but it did not set up Kang to be a big bad. Yes, there are other variants as we see in the post-credit scene, but Ant-Man being able to defeat Kang didn't do this film well. This film got a bad reception from audiences, and this resulted in fans posing the question as to whether Kang is the right villain for this saga. Loki Season 2 was released in the fall of 2023 and continued right where Season 1 left off. This is one of Marvel's best projects over the last few years, and in my opinion has done the most to set up this saga. This series introduced us to the TVA, which will be important in the next two Avengers films, and we may see them appear before in First Steps or Spider-Man Brand New Day. The first season of Loki did a great job keeping the mystery and suspense of who was behind the TVA. Audiences thought it was the Timekeepers who were controlling the TVA. It was revealed that they weren't, and by the end of the season, it was revealed that He Who Remains was the one behind everything. He Who Remains explained the Multiversal War and how it all started when he came in contact with his variants and they became obsessed with power. This is a loop that is bound to happen, and we are starting to get closer to this in Doomsday and Secret Wars. I explained in an earlier video how the main universes that we know of so far are the 616, 838, and 10005 universes. Matt Shakman stated earlier this month that his new iteration of Fantastic Four takes place in Universe 828. This now gives us 4 universes that we know have come into contact with each other directly and indirectly. The 3 universes that we know will be involved are 616, 10005, and 828. Universe 838 is up in the air mainly because that universe has not been mentioned, but what happened in Multiverse of Madness will most likely be addressed, especially with Doctor Strange causing an incursion. Let's go back to Loki. At the end of Season 1, Sylvie kills He Who Remains. Season 2 did a great job at handling the death of He Who Remains and somewhat erased Kang from the picture. In Season 2, we are shown that the temporal loom is erupting because of all the branch timelines that are being created with the TVA no longer pruning timelines. At the end of the season, we see Loki go back to the Season 1 finale and he talks to He Who Remains before his death. He was paving the path for Loki before he died, and he is still doing it after he died. Loki decides to sacrifice himself, and he becomes Loki, God of Stories, freeing the multiverse and giving everyone freedom. With Loki freeing the multiverse, anyone and everyone is at risk of the next multiversal war. With Marvel suffering from low ratings and Kang no longer being considered the big bad, Marvel had to pivot. This brings us to the summer of 2024. During Comic-Con, Kevin Feige brought out the cast for the Fantastic Four and other upcoming films as they talked briefly about those films. Next, we got a surprise with the Russo brothers on stage and announcing that they would be returning to direct the next 2 Avengers films, which would be Avengers Doomsday, pivoting from the Kang Dynasty, and Avengers Secret Wars. Robert Downey Jr. was also revealed to be coming back not as Iron Man but as Dr. Doom. This only being about 1 year ago, and Doom having not appeared in any project within this saga so far, audiences are eager to see where Doom may appear before Doomsday as there has been no build up for the character. This brings us to now. With the Fantastic Four First Steps on the horizon, this film has to set up this group of characters as prominent and must set up the future either through the conclusion of the film or the post-credit scenes. The Thunderbolts post-credit scene showed us that the Fantastic Four ship was headed towards Earth 616. This film will have to address that in some way. A recently released clip showed us that the team went to make a deal with Galactus, but that they couldn't because Galactus wants Franklin Richards. For those who do not know, Franklin is a son of Reed and Sue, and he has the ability to create whole new universes. It has been rumored that Galactus wants Franklin so that he can rebuild his universe, which was destroyed. There have also been rumors that Doom will appear in the post-credit scene for this film, and it will be him taking Franklin Richards. It has also been heavily rumored that the ship in the post-credit scene could be carrying Doom and Franklin and not the Fantastic Four. This film can end in different ways. One ending that has been heavily rumored is that the team will lose and that Galactus will destroy the Earth, and they will be forced to leave their universe. This is very much possible with them not wanting to give Franklin up and that being the only way to avoid Galactus. This film could also end with the team winning and believing that everything is fine until Doom steals Franklin and goes to the 616 if that rumor is true. If I'm being honest, this film could end in any way. That's how up in the air this ending is. There was also a rumor a few months ago earlier this year that suggested that there will be a time jump at the end of the film. This makes sense because it was stated that Franklin will have a major role in Doomsday and Secret Wars as he will be the key to rebuilding the universe when the saga concludes. Franklin will only be a baby in this film, and depending on how long after Doomsday takes place from the end of this film will determine how much Franklin can age. This film also takes place in the 60s, which can be a factor in the time jump happening. In the 616, the present year is 2027, with Doomsday speculated to take place in 2028. The Fantastic Four First Steps is confirmed to be set in 1965, giving 63 years in between the events of these films. Yes, they are in different universes, but having a 10 to 15, maybe even 20-year time jump and then having Franklin be aged up makes the most sense. This would also give enough time for Reed and Sue to have Valeria, who I believe will have a major role going forward as well. Going back to Galactus, I do not believe that he will die in this film. Galactus is too huge of a character to be a one-off. I believe that Doom could persuade Galactus to work for him, and in return he promises to rebuild his universe. If Doom does indeed take Franklin, this will only persuade Galactus even more into trusting and working with Doom. Doomsday will have multiple villains, with Doom rumored to have his own villains or even an evil Avengers team. No one is out of question for Doomsday. After the mishandling of King, hopefully the same cannot be said about Doom. With Doom being the big bad now after the pivot from Marvel, these next few projects over the next year and a half must do what needs to be done to set up Doom as the huge bad to the conclusion of this Multiversal Saga. Follow us on X at Films HQ. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to drop a like and hit that subscribe button to help the channel grow. Turn on notifications to never miss an upload, and until next time, God bless. See you soon.